vaccine enters third phase of clinical trials. Traffic compound collection totaling almost 400 million ringgit in 2020. You're watching News at 10 with me, Brendan Lepore. We begin with COVID-19 updates. Malaysia's official virus tally nationwide reached 194,114 as another 3,680 cases were reported as at noon today. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said 6 of the new infections were imported cases, while the rest were local transmissions. In a statement, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham said 314 patients are currently being treated at the ICU, of which 122 requiring ventilator support. He also said that the country's recovery rate now stands at 77.8% after another 1,858 patients fully recovered and discharged from hospitals in the last 24 hours. This latest development brings the cumulative figure of active cases to 42,389. Meanwhile, the Health DG said there were 7 additional COVID-19 related deaths, which pushed the total fatality count to 707. The victims, all aged between 55 and 84, were detected in Perak, Sarawak, Sabah and Selangor. The Health Ministry also identified 17 new clusters, making the total number of clusters registered so far to 770. Now, the authorities apprehended a total of 506 individuals yesterday for flouting the Movement Control Order MCO protocol. 473 of them were issued compounds, while the remaining 33 were remanded. According to a statement by Senior Minister for Security, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, the most common offences include not wearing face masks, not providing entry-exit locks for customers at premises, unpermitted interstate travel, as well as not practising proper physical distancing. Meanwhile, 536 roadblocks were set up through or benteng involving the Royal Malaysia Police PDRM, the Malaysian Armed Forces ATM, the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency MMEA and the Border Security Agency AXEM, which saw the arrest of 19 illegal immigrants as well as the confiscation of 8 land vehicles. 70 sanitation operations were also conducted nationwide yesterday, involving 37 red zones, 2 orange zones, 9 yellow zones and 1 green zone. Premises sanitized including trading centres, housing areas, public spaces, supermarkets and government buildings. The Phase 3 clinical trial of the COVID-19 vaccine begins today at 9 hospitals nationwide, involving 3,000 local volunteers. Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Adham Baba described the trials as historical and meaningful for the country, especially in the health sector. He said the clinical trial, sponsored by the Institute of Medical Biology Chinese Academy of Medical Sciences, aims to examine the safety and effectiveness of the vaccine to prevent COVID-19 infection.
We would like to see the protocol procedure required, and this is the thing that we can use at the world level, such as sharing data on clinical trial. We hope that we benefit for Malaysians and people all over the world. This is so important landmark again for Malaysia, that we are the only country in the world that conduct clinical trial Phase 3 COVID-19 vaccine outside China.
Speaking at the virtual launch of the trial, he also said the process will be strictly monitored by the National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency and the Medical Research and Ethics Committee. The first and second phases of the trials were carried out in China, with the findings revealing a significant immune reaction towards SARS-CoV-2 antigens. Meanwhile, Dato Sri Dr. Adam Baba urged people with thalassemia to act as agents that can educate their close relatives relating to the importance of undergoing screening tests. He said the effort is vital in order to protect the family members and future generations. Explaining further, he said Malaysia had recorded a total of 8,681 thalassemia cases as of 2018, and the number continues to rise every year.
Sejak sekian lama, Kementerian Kesihatan sentiasa memberi perhatian terhadap penyakit seperti thalassemia selaras dengan hasrat persekutuan thalassemia antarabangsa agar kementerian, badan profesional dan badan bukan kerajaan berusaha meningkatkan kesedaran dan kefahaman di kalangan masyarakat mengenai penyakit ini.
He said this at the launch of Thalassemia Awareness Campaign, Now You See Me, which was introduced by Repsol Malaysia with the help from the Health Ministry to educate the school students about the inherited blood disorder. The initiative would give the students the opportunity to showcase their creativity in communicating their understanding about thalassemia on social media and through competitions organized in their respective schools. 50 schools from Kelantan, Terengganu and Pahang have been selected in the first phase of this campaign before it is continued in the other states.
Confused or worried about symptoms during the COVID-19 pandemic? If you only have a runny nose or are sneezing, you may have a cold or allergies. Have you lost your sense of taste or smell? Are you experiencing shortness of breath? These are common symptoms of COVID-19. Coughing, fatigue and fever are all symptoms of both flu and COVID-19. If you have a temperature above 38 degrees Celsius or 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit, call your local healthcare provider or hotline for medical advice and ask whether you need a COVID-19 test. If you have any COVID-19 symptoms or are waiting for test results, stay home and isolate from other members of your household. Drink fluids and eat well. Always wear a mask if you're in the same room as others. If you test positive for COVID-19, follow your healthcare provider's advice. If at any time you experience a danger sign like difficulty breathing, chest pain, confusion, loss of speech or mobility, don't wait. Seek medical care immediately. Remember, you can prevent colds, flu and COVID-19 by following a few basic precautions. Stay safe and protect each other. We're in this together. Know your risk, lower your risk.
Welcome back. The Johor Fire and Rescue Department will begin periodical sanitation operations at 3 international entry points into the country starting tomorrow. According to its director, Dato Yahaya Madis, this will involve the Sultan Iskandar Customs, Immigration and Quarantine Complex, Sultan Abu Bakar Gelang Patah Complex, as well as the Senai International Airport. The sanitation process will also be carried out at building areas and pathways used by lorry drivers.
Pihak negara jiran kita Singapura pun dia telah minta pemandu lori di swab dan mereka ni akan keluar masuk. Jadi kawasan yang mereka lalui itu kita akan buat sanitisasi. Termasuklah yang terutama yang untuk yang lori keluar masuk ni.
Speaking of inspecting a sanitation process at Pasar Borong Pandan, he said about 20 to 50 personnel will be involved in a sanitation operation at the borders. Perak has permitted the performing of Friday prayers and daily prayers in mosques with a maximum of 40 congregates starting tomorrow. This was decided by the Perak Islamic Religious and Malay Customs Council after it was consented by the Sultan of Perak, Sultan Nazrin Muizzuddin Shah. According to a statement by its president, Datuk Sri Muhammad Anwar Zaini, the aforementioned number of congregates does not include the mosque committee members. Furthermore, the attendance for prayers are only allowed to male Malaysian citizens aged between 16 and 70. He said other religious activities such as lectures were also allowed to be held in the mosque, but only between the Maghrib and Isha prayer times. This, however, does not include ceremonial activities, which remain forbidden throughout the Movement Control Order (MCO) period. The Sultan also decreed that Hajat prayers should be held in mosques every day to pray for the swift resolution of the COVID-19 pandemic. His Highness also expressed appreciation towards all frontliners as well as his deepest sympathies to those who suffered fatigue due to hard work. A labourer pleaded guilty at the Kota Baru Sessions Court to 19 counts of unauthorised access of computer materials, resulting in loss of 79,000 ringgit from a Tabung Haji account belonging to a snatch theft victim. One Muhammad Nazir, one Zahari, aged 27, made the plea after the charges were read out before Judge Ahmad Bazli Bahrudin. According to all the charges, one Muhammad Nazir was charged with unauthorized access of computer materials by transferring the money through 19 transactions via online banking from the victim's Tabung Haji account to 3 different other Tabung Haji accounts belonging to Muhammad Hafiq Zulkifli, 27, Nur Afika Muhammad Shah Waliallah, 28, and Faiza Ibrahim, 22. He was alleged to have committed the offences at Bank Tabung Haji Pasir Puteh between 11 September to 6 October last year. The accused was charged under Section 4, Subsection 1, Subsection A of the Computer Crimes Act 1997, which carries a sentence of a fine not exceeding 150,000 ringgit up to 10 years imprisonment or both upon conviction. The prosecution was conducted by Deputy Public Prosecutor Muhammad Faizwan Sulaiman and the accused was unrepresented. The court did not allow the accused bail and set the 1st of February as the sentence date. 4 friends escaped the gallows after the Johor Bahru High Court discharged them of drug trafficking charges from 5 years ago. The court made the ruling as the prosecution had failed to prove a prima facie case against all the accused. The verdict was issued by Judge Dato Abu Bakar Qatar on T. Muniswaran, age 47, M. Thiagan, 38, S. Arumugan, 35, and P. Sugendran, age 35. The prosecution also failed to prove the first amended charge of possession and distribution of drugs as well as the second amended charge of possession of drugs against all the accused. All of them were accused of distributing methamphetamine weighing about 153 grams and ketamine 3.22 grams at a house in Taman Muhibah, Saling, Kulai on 20th February 2017. They were charged under Section 39B, Subsection A and Section 39B, Subsection 2 of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952 that are punishable under Section 12, Subsection 3 of the same Act, read together with Section 34 of the Penal Code, which carries mandatory death sentence and a fine not exceeding 100,000 ringgit or a maximum of 5 years imprisonment if found guilty. A total of 6 witnesses had been called to testify, with the case prosecuted by Deputy Public Prosecutor Muhammad Shafiq Muhammad Ghazali. Malaysia and Australia rolled out to boost ties throughout comprehensive strategic partnership. That and more coming up in our foreign segment. The Bukit Aman Investigation and Traffic Enforcement Department, JSPT, recorded a compound collection totaling 395.3 million ringgit from the 5.2 million summonses issued last year. This is an 89 million ringgit increase, or 29.2% more than the 305.2 million ringgit collection from 5 million summonses issued in 2019. JSPT Director General Dato Azizman Alias said the majority of the summonses issued were for speeding offences.
Bila kita bercakap, JSPT bercakap ni, kita ada dia punya orang kata rekod dan fakta dia. Ini yang kita risaukan ni. Maknanya di sini sikap. Walaupun dia kena berkali-kali, kadang-kadang yang datang merayu untuk 50% diskaun, ada yang menulis surat, tu dia. panjang dia punya kesalahan-kesalahan tu. Tapi 90%, 80% tengok semua melebihat laju. Sebab kita banyak memasang kita punya perangkap had laju, kamera-kamera yang ada di sepanjang jalan-jalan.
Dato' Azizman also informed that JSPT is currently on the final phase of developing an online application to make it easier for traffic offenders to settle their summonses. The app, which will also be accessible through smartphones, is expected to launch earliest next month. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin and his Australian counterpart Scott Morrison officially launched the Malaysia-Australia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership (CSP) during the inaugural Malaysia-Australia Annual Leaders Meeting held via video conferencing today. Malaysia and Australia have been long-standing close partners, and with the elevation of the Malaysia-Australia partnership, it creates another milestone in diplomatic relations between the two countries. It reflects both nations' genuine commitment to advancing and consolidating further the already extensive and multifaceted cooperation at all levels. In this respect, both Prime Ministers approved the plan of action, which charts out concrete initiatives under the three CSP main pillars, namely economic prosperity, society and technology, as well as defence cooperation and regional security. On the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, both leaders agreed to undertake a set of effective measures to address the pandemic and mitigate its negative impacts. Such measures include undertaking cooperation in COVID-19 vaccination, keeping the markets open and the international supply chains functioning to support economic recovery efforts and people's livelihoods, as well as managing cross-border movement. Today's launch of the Malaysia-Australia CSP is also timely, as both countries continue to address the evolving regional and global complexities, including those posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. A total of 2.38 billion ringgit have been channeled to help the people through the second phase of Bantuan Prihatin Nasional BPN 2.0 on 21st of January. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said it would take at least 1 week for the government to complete the payout for the second phase, as it involved a huge amount of recipients. Following this development, he hoped that those who are eligible to receive the benefits can be patient and understanding while waiting for the process to be completed.
Saya juga ingin berkongsi bahawa dari 21 hingga 24 Januari, sebanyak 6.4 juta akaun telah dikreditkan, dan daripada 25 hingga 29 Januari, 3.8 juta akaun sedang atau akan dikreditkan.
He said some 750,000 recipients from the B40 and M40 groups without any bank accounts have also started making their claims. He hoped that the financial aid can ease the burden of 11.06 million people, including households and single individuals. That concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story, COVID-19 vaccine enters third phase of clinical trials. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow. Till then, I'm Brenda Lupol. Thanks for watching.